Hi everyone, Mr. Rowe here, just popping in for a quick video lesson for you in case you're having trouble working through the factoring. So I was just going to walk you through a few examples. Once you practice it a few times, hopefully it goes pretty well for you. But basically what we're doing is the last lesson we learned about standard form. Standard form looks like this. So as we learned from the last lesson, standard form doesn't really tell us much. The C value is the y-intercept. Well, that doesn't really give us a lot of information about how to graph the parabola. So what we need to do is convert this into factored form, because if we get the factored form, then we know the zeros, then we can average them and find the vertex, and that gives us a much more complete picture. So just as a recall, and I've already filled this out just because we've done this lots of times, this is factored form. This is what we want. Because looking at this, I know that the zeros are +2 and -3, and I can graph those and then find the middle, average the zeros, go ahead and find the vertex. And what we've been doing up so far is expanding and simplifying this, and by doing that, you get to standard form. So this is what we've done so far. We've gone from factored form to standard form. And we did that by expanding and simplifying. Okay, but what we want to do is learn how to go the other way. And the way we do that is by what's called factoring. So I'm going to walk you through the process. So all these examples are going from factored to standard. We're going to learn a method to go from standard to factored. So these are the steps. And you know what, you can read through them, but I'll just walk you through it and it'll be the steps. So here we go. First example. This is in standard form. I want it in factored form. So what I need to do is find two numbers that will add up to this value. We call it the B value, because the general form is this: x squared plus bx plus c. And this method we're learning is specific when this value equals 1. So the B value is the number in front of the x, and the C value is the constant or the number by itself. So what I'm looking to do is find two numbers that add up, that sum, to the B value. And when those same two numbers multiply together, they equal the C value. So this is where you're going to have to just do a little bit of thinking. What are two numbers that add up to 6, and when you multiply them give you 8? So if you think about it for a little bit, you could start running through some possibilities, and if you're able to come up with the two numbers, which in this case would be 2 and 4, 2 plus 4 is 6, the middle number. 2 times 4 is 8, the last number. So the two numbers are 2 and 4. And that's really the hardest part of the question, because once you get to that, you just get to go straight to the answer. So therefore the factored form version is this. It's just going to be x plus 2. You just put in those numbers. And that's it. I'm now in the factored form. And if I wanted to go ahead and graph this and learn more about this parabola, I would know that the zeros are -2, -4. I could average them, find the vertex, etc. So I'm going to walk you through a few more examples, and I'm going to go over a method that you could use if you were stuck and you just couldn't find these numbers at all. So I'll walk through one more, then I'll jump down to actually I'll do this one here using this method. So here we go. So here we are in standard form. The B value is this. This is the B value. This is the C value. This number equals 1. So I need two numbers that add up to 5, the B value, and multiply to 6. So what are those numbers? And you know, some people, it takes a while to run through this, but you're probably just going to have to sit back and think for a bit. Let's think. Well, 2 and 3 add up to 5. Does that multiply to 6? Yes, it does. So 2 plus 3 equals 5. 2 times 3 equals 6. So therefore, you just go straight to the answer. You open up two sets of brackets like you would in the factored form. One is plus 2, and the other one is plus 3. And that's it. You're done. That's all this lesson's about. Now, what are you going to do if you can't think of the numbers? So I'll demonstrate what you could do in this next example. So you're looking for two numbers that add up to the b value, which is 3, multiply it to negative 18. So just say you're absolutely stumped. You have no idea what to do. What you're going to do is you're going to take this product number, because there's only a certain amount of numbers that will multiply to negative 18. There's an infinite possibility of numbers that add up to 3. But there's only a fixed amount of possibilities for negative 18. So that's what I do. Just say I've thought through a bunch of stuff, I can't figure it out. So what I do is I start with 1. 1 times what equals negative 18? Well, 1 times negative 18. Then I check. Does that add up to my sum of 3? No. Well, what about negative 1 and positive 18? Well, that multiplies to negative 18. Does that add up to 3? No. So then I move on to the next number, 2. Does 2 times something give me negative 18? It does. 2 times minus 9. Does that add up to 3? No. Well, what about negative 2 and positive 9? That multiplies to negative 18. Does that add up to 3? No. So now I'm going to move to the next one, 3. Well, I know that 3 times negative 6 equals negative 18. Does that add up to positive 3? No. Negative 3 and positive 6. Well, that adds up or multiplies to negative 18. What does this add up to? It does add up to positive 3. So that's my answer. And just to demonstrate this, 4 doesn't multiply unevenly. 5 doesn't multiply unevenly, and the 6s we've already done. So really there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possibilities, 6 possible number combinations that multiply to negative 18. So you just have to write a little list and go through them and see which one adds up to the sum that you want it to. And then once you have those numbers, open up the two brackets. Oops. Open up the two brackets, and you go x, x, and then you just put in those numbers. So minus 3 plus 6. Okay. So let's keep going. I'll work through a couple of these with you, but that's really all there is to it. You're going to have to be able to do this on your own. And it takes practice. Like, you'll get the hang of it. It'll be tricky at first, but if you keep plugging away, keep practicing, it gets easier and easier. So two numbers that add up to negative 9 and multiply to 20. Well, I know the product is positive, so my numbers are either going to be two positive numbers or two negative numbers, because you can't get a positive product with one negative and one positive. Because my sum is negative, I'm going to be looking for two negative numbers. So I know that negative 4 and negative 5 add up to negative 9, and when I multiply those, multiplies to positive 20. So obviously going forward, you won't be prompted with the sum and the product. You're going to have to know which value is the sum and which one's the product. So two numbers that add up to minus 10 multiply to positive 16. So this is a similar situation to the last time where I'm going to be looking for two negative numbers, because that's the only way I'm going to get a negative sum and a positive product. But again, you could always use this method where you put out 16 and just go through all the possibilities. After thinking it through, I know that these two numbers meet the description. Negative 2 times negative 8 is positive 16. Negative 2 plus negative 8 is negative 10. So x minus 2, x minus 8. So when you're doing this on an assessment, you're just going to be given the question like this. So you're going to have to know, and I usually just use an S. Sum is 8 product is 16. So I'm thinking 1 times 16 isn't going to work, 2 times 8 won't work, 3 doesn't divide unevenly, but 4 times 4 is 16, 4 plus 4 is 8. So it's x plus 4, x plus 4. And then this next example is just more of a demonstration of what I did already, showing you like 72 is a pretty large number, but when you break it down, there's really, I've written down all the possibilities for numbers that multiply to positive 72. So it's actually not as many as you think. So sum equals negative 17, product equals 72. And I've already taken the liberty of writing out this list, so I'm just going to, which one adds up to negative 17? That's a no, 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 no. This adds up to 22. Negative 22 adds up to 18. Negative 18. This adds up to positive 17. But I needed to add up to negative 17, so it's all the way there at the bottom. So negative 9 and negative 8, and then there's my answer. So this is a pretty big idea. So this is something you want to get really good at. And there you have it. I think there's one more on the next page, the last one. So I'm looking for two numbers that add up to 2, multiply to negative 48. And I'm going to go positive 8 and negative 6. So don't feel bad that, I'm getting these quickly. I've been doing this a long time, and like I said, the more you practice, the better you're going to get. So obviously I'm going to be able to do these a little quicker. I absolutely do not expect you to just be able to look at these numbers and be able to pick off the two numbers that fit the criteria. Again, I've been doing it a long time. I'm just trying to make these videos short as possible for your viewing. But again, if you were stuck with this negative 48, you would just go over to the side, like I did for that one question, and go through all the possibilities. 1 times negative 48, negative 1 times 48. No. 2 times negative 24, negative 2 times 24. No. And just keep going through until you get the combination that's going to add up to 2, which ends up being 8 and negative 6. So don't just find the numbers. A lot of people I find just find the numbers, they think they're done. You actually have to then go ahead and write it in the factored form. So that is all. So this is something you want to get good at. So here's your homework right here. It looks like you just have to try it 6 times, maybe 7 times, answer some questions, and away you go. So take care, and I'll have some more lessons up soon.